Well, welcome to this quick overview and audience response paths. I'm going to show you here in the next couple minutes to give you a really kind of a basic idea of what you can do with the audience response paths. Keep in mind, I'm only going to take a couple minutes, so there's many different things you can do, but this really is just intended as a quick overview. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So in our example here today, we're going to go ahead and take our audience, and let's say I have 10 people in a classroom. I can certainly have up to 100, but I'm going to use 10 here just to keep this somewhat simple for this tutorial. And I'm going to use competition or a game format to really kind of make this more fun. But as you're going to see, I'm really using this as a tool to assess what my audience knows, and there's lots of different ways you can use that information. So let's go ahead and assign our teams. Since we're doing this on the fly, I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And I'm going to go ahead and hand out the blue team 5 pads for each player. And I'm going to go ahead and have them right now at any time push any button. And what this is going to do is assign their particular ID, because each pad has a unique address, and it's going to go ahead and assign it to the blue team. I can even come up here if I wanted to and assign a name to each pad. There are advantages of this. In this case, I'm going to keep it anonymous because I'm really just more concerned how people answer the question. I'm just going to use this information in the class. Of course, you can do this on the back end. If you have the whole course roster, you know it's going to be your class, you can set up 100 people and assign them to teams ahead of time and really make this smooth. The choice is entirely up to you. Let's go ahead and do the same thing with the red team. And I'm going to go ahead and just have them ring in. And again, it's assigning their unique ID to their team, and we're all set to go. And again, I'm going to go ahead and leave this blank, keep it anonymous, but we'll reference John Smith later on. We're ready to play. Now, to keep this time frame short, I'm just going to go ahead and, through the beauty of video, just go ahead and skip question. All right, so here's our first question. Now, in this example, I've set it up as a tutorial, so I'm going to use the game to teach or review information. So what I want to do here is I put in the preview slide a slide where I'm going to go ahead and talk about this particular mask, which happens to be an N95 mask. And I'm going to go to full screen with it, talk about this for a couple minutes, set up my question. Now let's go ahead and go to my question. Now, here's my question. When should an N95 mask be disposed of? And I'm going to go ahead and have my audience go ahead and choose the best answer. So let's go ahead and get started. And I will know when everybody's rung in when I see all this grayed out. If somebody has not rung in, I can certainly hover over this and ask the person with ID 34, or down here I can say, John Smith, can you make sure your answer? So I have some options. I'm going to go ahead and do next. Now right at the moment, even though we're playing this as a competition of sorts, I'm going to go ahead and see how everybody answered this question. So 50% of the audience said when it becomes wet. 40% said after each patient's use, and 10% said after contact with a TB patient. The one thing I really want to point out, questions shouldn't necessarily be about right or wrong answers. Wrong answers can be just as an important teaching tool as right answers. For example, the correct answer is here when it becomes wet. But what this allows me to talk about is the common misconceptions that people have about this. And to a certain degree, there is some truth to this answer, but it allows me in the summary slide to talk about why each of these is right or wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and answer the correct answer and go to the summary, and now I can go into greater detail and talk about this because that allows me to address that and deal with those common misconceptions. Now, one thing I want to point out here, we are kind of using the game here as a competition. So it's going to assign the collaborative scores of each team. So as you can see here, for Team Blue, they won between their 5 players. They got the highest percent correct. So it's going to assign 60% of the scores to Team Blue and 40% to Team Red. You don't really lose points in this. It just takes the correct answers. And if I wanted to, I could actually call out who got them wrong. But again, you have to really kind of look at what is your objective when you're using an audience response path. In most cases, I want to keep it anonymous and not necessarily call out people that get wrong answers. All we've done here today is scratch the surface. We want to just show you how audience response paths will work with the Bravo Game Builder. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, but trust me, there's going to be a lot more coming where this came from. Until then, I hope you always find a way to make your training engaging to your audience.